We live in color, emotional beings. From moment to moment, it can change.
One of the things that has happened in the past is some of the clients start to feel uncomfortable when they're actually making progress and becoming successful at their goals.
Mhm.
So I've seen, I don't know whether I want to call it self-sabotage, but you'll see someone who's involved. Let's talk about fitness, who is really making progress, and they're sticking to their routine, and they're doing well. But for whatever reason, it's uncomfortable, and it could be success based in that context. Because what I've noticed too is when people become organized and disciplined when it comes to fitness and taking care of themselves, it translates into other contexts in their lives. So when that happens and other things start to fall into place, sometimes it seems so out of the ordinary that it actually feels scary, like there is something wrong when actually everything is right.
Sure. It's almost like a form of, I don't want to call it imposter syndrome, but like the newness, you're not supposed to exist there, right? Um, because, some things, some goals can be such a shift. A person can almost feel like they don't deserve that, even though they worked for it. That's a thing, and I think that if that's the case, then you have to start to dig to see where that's coming from. Why do you not feel like you deserve this if you've worked for it? Why do you not feel like you should look like this? I mean, you have all types of, that's like a rabbit hole you can go down, when it comes to what is that stemming from, right? As long as you have counted up the cognitive load, if there's any financial load, the emotional, if you to make sure that you have the emotional wherewithal to do what it is that you want to do, and if you can physically do it, those are the types of things that you want to count up the costs for. Once you figure out, okay, I have a green light for all of those things, choose one or two things, not 20. you know, Choose one or two things, not 20. 20, it's not the fact that it's impossible, but it's a huge cognitive load. And it's easier for you to get completely discouraged and just stop working towards all of them.
And we had talked about too, in our organization segment, about that calendar where we actually sit down and include everything. So, when we're taking stock of what it is that we want to accomplish in 2026, we really need to be taking a look at how that fits into the schedule and the routine of things. For example, let's say someone needs that regimen of a gym. It helps their motivation if they are going to a specific location. And sometimes, when someone has equipment in the house, they're less likely to take advantage of using it than if they actually have to make the effort to get in the car or ride a bike or whatever it is to get to the gym and put that time aside to be able to work out. So I do think that becomes an important part of being able to see exactly how much of a financial, emotional, time investment. There's so many factors that come into play. And it's not just working out. Say it is returning to college, to finish a degree that you started or a degree that you've always wanted to pursue. We know from experience how much of an investment that is, how many years of work that takes.
Definitely. And if you're going to be able to do what is required for that goal, like for instance, I couldn't go back for my PhD until my children were older. So for years, I wanted to, I won't say I could not, I just chose not to because I waited for my children to get to an age where they were able to manage themselves for the most part.
Mhm.
When you have small children, of course, they demand more of your right now attention versus you have a 16, 17, 18-year-old, you have to call them to come home. That's very, it's a very different picture. It's a very different picture.
Mm.
So making decisions based on where you are in life, setting goals based on what your specific circumstances is. And I think, and plan that out, strategically plan that out in a realistic way. And I think another thing that, if I can just insert, make sure that you are not setting goals based on another person,
Mhm.
based on another individual. You are your own person, your own authentic person with your own authentic life. All of us have different circumstances. My circumstances are not your circumstances, Dr. Markey, and your circumstances are not mine. You may be able to do something and I may desire to do it,
Mhm.
but is it realistic for me to set that as a goal? Is it really realistic? You know, um, I have children that still live in my home. Is it realistic for me to just be on the road? For me, based on my parenting, no. My parenting style, no. I could not just go on the road and just leave my children. That's my specific set of circumstances and my specific parenting style. For someone else, they may not have all of their children may be adults and out of the house and they can go on the road as much as they like. You
Mhm.
know, I'm also married. I don't want to necessarily leave my husband for months at a time and just go on the road. Some people, they make all of that work. But, that's their choice to do. I can't make my choice based on someone else's circumstances and someone else's, their choices. So make sure that when you're setting a goal and you're creating a strategy and a plan, you have considered your where you are in life, your lifestyle, and your own unique uh, worldview and outlook on how you should do things like spouse and parent and all of these hats that we wear. Make sure that um, you don't compare yourself to someone else and attempt to set a goal based on someone else's lifestyle.
I think we have to consider our decisions and our choices. So many times, you'll hear someone make a statement, and you can sort of determine that they don't realize that they have multiple choices at that
Mhm.
particular point in time. I think sometimes they overlook or choose to overlook certain choices because they're not fond of them.
Mhm. Definitely.
So sometimes wanting to do something necessitates making certain sacrifices,
Mhm.
um, where it's not possible to keep adding, more things onto your plate, which is already overflowing.
Right.
So knowing
Definitely.
that something, one or more things, is
Mhm.
either going to have to shift the priorities or perhaps, be put on the side, or if you're really engaged in certain things, then maybe you might have to delay that decision about engaging in something new, something that's on that New Year's resolution list.
We live in color, emotional beings. From moment to moment, it can change.